Can we make Christianity cool? No. No, I don't think so. I don't think you can make Christianity cool. I think Christianity loses the cool contest, and the devil wins the cool contest every time. The thing Christianity has to be made is awesome. Because awesome beats cool every time. Christianity has long since stopped being reality for people. Christianity, even for Christians, has become a religion in the world of which one participates and believes various metaphysical propositions. But people have forgotten that Christianity is reality. That ultimately the reality is conceptualized like Christianity. It's an insight into God's aesthetic conceptualization of his own concept. Christianity needs to break free of a lot of the cultural associations that are attached to it, dragging it down with unnecessary baggage by churches that have forgotten that the most important thing is really actually trying to save as many souls as you can. And that's the first and most important aspect of the church. It's the point of the church, that the whole thing has been a saving souls operation. It's very serious business. We are in a situation. Existentially, you think you're in a world, you're in an existential situation. It's quite serious. With your soul. And your job is to transform it. And it's been tried, it's made as clear to you as it possibly can be without breaking the rule of the game and having a deus ex machina just come and tell you what to do. Which is what a lot of atheists sound like they want. They want a deus ex machina God to prove that he's there and then just tell us what to do. As opposed to maybe playing the game of figuring it out for yourself and then of your own free will submitting. That's the game. And that's what Christianity needs to be articulated as. And the only way to do it is to use scientific paradigm concepts and integrate them with aesthetic ontological concepts and how that all relates to Christianity. And how Christianity is the structure of reality. And then from there, once you have the object and the subject, that is Jesus Christ, both object and subject, you have the reality thing with which all other things relate. And because it's determinate, because it's actually existential states, it's the truth, it's being. It's not words, it's not an opinion. There's no opinion about it. He died on the cross, he rose 3 days later. He will not be argued with. He offers it to you as a gift. You can take it or leave it. But once you really understand that it's offered, because that's the kind of thing God is, you have to take it. It compels you because of its beauty. The way you should analyze what's true is decide what story of all the stories that you know out in the world, what story is the most beautiful? Let's select the most beautiful story and bet that that one's the truth. And I'm telling you, they don't get more beautiful than Christianity. They don't. They just don't. It's embedded in the story as self-revealing aesthetic perfection. The fact that it is reminiscent of a lot of other mythical stories is to be expected given that this is the reality object and subject. So it all is coming from him. So of course it reflects him and refracts him. The whole thing is a refraction of his brain sculpture. I mean, it's reality. I mean, this is the metaphysical dimension that people forget. People who are deep into medieval theology and Christology and stuff get it. But to the modern world does not. It is reality, Christianity. And he is the nexus into the next world, he himself. We need data theology. We need language battles where we just try using the word reality in conversation. Just use the word reality more and see how it percolates through the culture and how that subtly brings up issues, because the word reality in the back of the head actually brings out deep metaphysical associations that people don't want to think about much. The word God should do that, but it doesn't mostly now because of the easy cultural associations people have with it. It doesn't carry the existential weight just hearing it the way that reality does, which still has this quality of like pinging certain notes in the back of the head that people don't want pinged. Reality. Use the word God too a lot. What if everyone tweeted all day long for one day, 24 hours, just God, 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 people tweeting all over the world? It would change the world if people just started believing. It's like a cliche. It's got to be like the Wizard of Oz. It's got to be like Dorothy at the end learns that she could have done it all along. It has to be like that. That's the way the story ends, to a certain extent, that the humanity discovers. This is why the second coming of the Christ is built into the system. Humanity discovers somehow that it had the power all along to just not live in this misery. But because it tries to control time through money, through various anxiety mechanisms, because it tries to control time, the system just can't automatically do what it wants to do and make everything good. So all the sin guns up the system and everything gets miserable. And we try to control it in time, and that's not the point of the game. The point of the game is just to love, 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 and the system does the rest. This is what's going on. This is reality. And we're far from it. And the only way out is a kind of post-madness movement. You know, it's a radical engagement with Christian rationality, the logos, the vision of God as rationality himself, as a kind of escape from the madness that is the world. But the world will perceive it as a kind of madness into Christianity, but it's a post-madness movement. It's beyond madness, because you realize that the actual divine psychic structure of reality is just beyond your very comprehension. So reality is totally bonkers. So to just relate to yourself existentially in a new way and have fun and love. But you've got to be grounded in the truth. That's the one catch that Christ demands. You have to be grounded in him as the truth, because he literally is the truth. In a way that we would just blow our minds if we really understood the implications of Christ being the truth. As something more than a metaphor. Maybe the opposite of a metaphor. Maybe that's the only non-metaphor. Christ is the truth. Everything else is a metaphor of that. We need to break free, and we need to stop making models of the world that demand that we resolve it to the most minute little details of explanation, because that binds the world into that kind of explanation. You know, the whole thing, only if you look close do you need to determine an electron in a double-slit experiment. Otherwise, the system just does its trick without you trying, without you asking questions. But when you need a resolution of a very specific thing at the pixel level, you're limiting the system's ability just to do what it does and take form. It's just light. And if we just played the game of it's all just light in our physics equations, what happens? Including matter. Matter at a very still point. Totally still. It matters. Light matters when it freezes. We could have a YouTube explosion of God if people just started talking to their computers about God and their feelings about God and Christianity and let it out. It would be a breakthrough of a digital kind. And it would start to make Christianity awesome, and then people would start to realize there's a meme to attach to. Suddenly reality becomes a meme war instead of reality as we know it. Reality becomes the concept space it always was, and it just becomes a meme war where Christianity wins. And it eventually, you know, you're either Christian or you're not. At the end, that's part of the point. To make it easy, because it is intense. And there's a lot of secular castle buildup that needs to be, you know, broken down. The troops need to charge in and fix the place, because society's not is very far from God, and you're supposed to believe in God. You are supposed to believe in God. It's what life is about, is believing in God, meditating on God and seeing what happens.